So you're looking for the best 1080p budget gaming monitor out there for your gaming setup, for your second monitor for your setup. In today's video we have the Acer Nitro Gaming Series VG220Q bmiix 22-inch IPS Gaming Monitor. I'm going to be taking it out of the box. We're going to be running down through the specs, see what it offers you. I want to also give you my opinion on the build quality of it and my first impressions of this monitor today. And hopefully we're going to answer them questions and see if this may be the right gaming monitor for your setup or not. But without wasting all your time, let's flip you over here and we'll get into taking this thing out of the box and run down through the specs of it for you. Here we go, guys. Here it is in its box. Nothing fancy about it. Not even no branding on the front of the box. But over here on the side sticker, it does have the model number and some of the little specs and whatnot that come with it. So let's go ahead and get this box cut open here. I'm going to take a cut down the side, flip it around here, do another little cut down the side here, and we're going to cut it across the top. Whoops. There we go. And I'm assuming this is going to be like most monitors. I'm hoping, because I was too lazy to set up my camera the other way for the overhead shot of it. I'm going to lay it down here, pull out the foam insert, which should have everything in it, which stuff's already falling out at me. And we'll slide it back. As you can see, the cardboard box is empty, so we'll lay it to the side. What fell out at me? Part of the mount fell out at me. Okay, that'd be all right. Take the top piece of the styrofoam off of it here. We'll get into the screen here in a little bit. We'll set that to the side for right now. Flip this foam piece up. What do we got? Maybe I just opened it up upside down. We'll start out with the mount pieces here. We do have the base mount for it here. It is a V angled. I guess the way you say that, or a Y, I guess, what it looks like. It is aluminum on bottom with your one screw in the middle to attach it with. First, you got plastic on top. It does have a little bit of a red accent to it, which that may bother you, it may not. I mean, I don't know, maybe you're gonna base and mount it so that redness don't bother you much. We do have a little bit of plastic on it here. See if we can get that peeled off. Gotta keep that black plastic clean and free from scratches and shipping, right? You don't want to leave it on there while you're using it. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Seems to be a pretty sturdy little base if you're gonna be using it. There ain't no flex to it or nothing. Of course, down towards the ends where the metal gets a little thin, it gets a little bit more flimsy. It does have some three little rubber pads on each of them to help with the monitor not slipping. That's pretty cool for something in this price range, which towards the end of the video we'll get into the price of it. Not bad looking little base stand for it. All right, and here it looks like you got an audio cable, which this thing does have two 2-watt speakers that's built into the display, which we'll point them out when we get into looking at the display itself. That looks like some kind of pass-through audio cable. Okay, here's the neck of the base. I think that's what they call it. That's the part that comes down from the monitor that actually hooks into the base of it. It does look like the internal is aluminum, just like the base was, with the black plastic coating. Don't seem to be too bad. Seems to be pretty strongly built. Looks like there's a metal clip that goes into the back of the monitor there. Does seem to have a little bit of tilt to it if you're going to be using the stand. Not too bad. They do give you what kind of cable do they give you? Let's get this thing out of the bag so I can see. And this is the problem with budget monitors. They give you an old VGA cable. They don't even supply you with an HDMI. It's only one of the old school old VGA cables to it. That's something else to throw in the bin, I guess. I don't even think most modern graphics card even has VGA ports on them anymore. But I guess it's kind of nice they give you some kind of cable to get it hooked up with. There's your owner's manual for it. and directions on how to get everything hooked up, and probably got some specs and stuff in there for you if you need to read it. That's some light reading while you're on your lunch break. Apparently, in this bag, we have the power cable to it. So it does have an internal power supply to it. So you just have the cable. You don't have the power brick that's inside of the cable, which is pretty nice. You know, it's all internal. It's all, which some people say that's a bad thing. Some people say it's a good thing, because if that PSU inside the monitor goes bad, then you have to replace the whole monitor. Where if it's outer brick, you can actually just change out the brick in most cases. This one here does have an internal power supply to it. They do give you a power cable. Let me get all this cleaned up and we'll get the monitor pulled over here and we'll actually take a look at the panel. We'll be putting this thing together for you. Alright guys, here we have the display itself. It's inside this nice little styrofoam bag. I have to open up the bag. Pull the bag off the top and reveal what's inside. The only branding you really see on the front is this little space down here at the bottom, which is Acer, which it does say it is a 3-sided non-bezel monitor, which we all know it has a little bit of a bezel to it. I mean, you can't really get away from that unless it rolls around the side of it. But it is pretty minimal on the 3 sides. On the 2 sides and the top, you do have a little bit of a bezel here at the bottom, which ain't too bad. Let's flip around here to the back, see what we got. Got some plastic to peel. There we go. Plastic peel for you guys. You do have a little bit of an Acer branding at the top. It does have some ventilation, because monitors do get warm, so it does have some ventilation here where it kind of caves in at. You got a little bit of a V here. As far as the connections on this thing, see what we got underneath here. You got your power supply. There's where the neck of the brace goes into. Looks like you got 2 HDMIs and a VGA connector, and that must be for that audio cable that they included. It has 2 outs for it. I'm going to assume these down here is for your speakers. We'll have to wait till we hook it up, but I believe them is for your speakers, which will be down-facing speakers. And we do have a Kinsey lock here. Over here is your controls for it. Looks like you got a power light up here, which will probably be your power button. And you got a little joystick down here for the rest of your controls for on-screen display. Then you got a few other physical buttons here on the back. Looks like there's 3 of them, plus your power button up here at the top. It is all plastic, of course. For a monitor in this caliber, I think it'll be all right. You do have a 100mm by 100mm VESA mount for this one. If you want to put it on a stand arm or something like that, desk arm, you can do that with it. And look, I've already got it all scuffed up with my hands. Imagine that, huh? Most companies are actually put plastic over top of the screens to help protect them, but this one don't seem to have any plastic on it. As far as the screen size goes, it is 21.5 inches diagonal, which if you ain't aware, that's the way they measure TVs and monitors. They say it's a 22 inch, but it's actually only 21.5 inches across. So it is a fairly smaller monitor, which would make good for a second monitor, or maybe someone just getting into gaming that's a little bit younger. You know, it's old fogies like me. We like to have a little bit more real estate. You know, the 27-inch screens makes it a little bit easier for us to see. They say it is a widescreen, which is a 16:9 ratio screen on it. It is an LED backlit screen. It is IPS. It is full HD, which means it's a 1920 by 1080p display, which makes it a full HD display. It is FreeSync and AMD adaptive sync panel, so it will work good with your AMD video cards, which even NVIDIA cards usually take advantage of that technology, even if it is an AMD technology. The max resolution and the recommended resolution on it is 1920 by 1080. It does have a viewing angle of 178 degrees, height and V. So by looking at the side, you know, you can look it up to 178 degree angle at it, and the picture still should look all right to you. I'm not too sure on this next stat. But it says the brightness is 250 CD/M2. I'm assuming that's pretty good. I don't know. We will be hooking up to one of the systems here behind it to actually see what the monitor actually looks like. It does have a 1,000,000 to 1 ratio It does have a 1 millisecond refresh time. The display colors is 16.7 million colors, and the refresh rate is a little bit above average. It is a 75 hertz display, which is kind of nice, especially with as powerful as graphics card is getting. And a lot of people ain't happy with 60 frames per second anymore. So, you know, that 75 hertz gives you a little bit better refresh rate than the 60 that a lot of gamers recommend or like. As far as the power that the little monitor is going to use, it looks like it is MPR2 complies. It complies with the MPR2, whatever that is. Some kind of power regulation, I'm assuming. Power supply is 100 to 240 VAC, 50 to 60 hertz. So 75 hertz, it'll be pulling a little bit more than that, but you know, that's 50 to 60 hertz. That's pretty common technology for monitors, or the way they measure it for monitors. This monitor has been on the market for a while. It was first announced or brought to market on August the 23rd of 2018. Let me get a screwdriver out here and we'll show you how to get the stand hooked up to it, just in case you need to do that. All right, guys. I want to try to get you a good view of this. We do have the base here, that is the Y, and we do have the neck. It does only fit one way, of course, to get it to fit right. Slide it down in here, but don't click or nothing. You do have to hold it in there while you put the screw up through the bottom. You will need a flash head screwdriver for this part of it. So it ain't a complete toolless design on them, but you know, for a monitor that's in this price point, you know, you ain't gonna get some of them luxuries. There you go. We have the base mounted to the neck of it. See if I can get you a view of it. I do have it set up here on the box on the table, just to get you guys a little bit better view of it. But right here is the locking mechanism for the neck. Got these two little prongs on it. They can put it underneath the plastic lip. Slide it up in there and it should lock into place. There we go. Which it does have, I don't know if you can see that on video or not, but it does have a little button back here you can push with a screwdriver or something. I usually have a little piece of wood laying around that I can push it in on that, or you can use a screwdriver. Either way you like to do it. But there is a little button up there you have to push in to get this to come back down off, which that's all right. But there you go. That's what the back of it looks like when it's on the base mount on the stand. That's where you really see the red from the black from the front of it. See a little bit of the red here, a little bit, give you a little bit of a red accent. The tilt on it, it does have a little bit of a tilt. I would guess maybe 30-degree tilt on that, maybe 22, 25, 30, something like that. It don't say how much of a tilt adjust it's got, but it's got a fair amount of tilt to it there. Let me get hooked up to one of these systems here set beside it, and we'll see what this thing actually looks like. Got this thing set up here and it's hooked up to the computer. As you can tell, it's looking pretty good. I know by looking at the video, there's a lot of compression and decompression goes on when you record a video and you upload to YouTube, when you do the video editing. But hopefully this will give you an idea of what the colors look like on this particular monitor. I'm not seeing no buster or anything going on with any of the pigments inside of it or the pixels inside of it. So it's looking to be pretty good. While we get you set up here like this, we are going to be going through some of the controls it has built into the monitor. Like I said, that top button is the power button for it. And we'll get it turned back on here. There we go. All right, then we'll go down, next button down. We have VRB, the brightness, the input, and a menu. The next one down is just for the brightness, where you can adjust it with the joystick. Next button down It does the same thing as the second one up. Okay, for the joystick itself, you push in on it, it gives you the menu. Okay, we got a picture, which is your brightness, contrast, blue light, the black boost, the ACM, whoops, disappeared on me. Super sharpness, the H position and the V position. Next thing down, you got your colors. Next one down is your volume control. They do have a gaming mode, which is overdrive, FreeSync, BRB, and aim picture. You got a OSO, and then you got a system setup, which is input, audio source, hotkey adjustments, wide mode, DDC, IC, and then you got an HDMI black level, and then you got a quick start mode. So that's pretty well the controls you have over it. I'm not gonna go into too much of the controls on it, but that's just kind of some of the options that they give you. And of course, it's all controlled by the little joystick on the bottom of it. That's kind of the controls and what it actually offers you as the controls. Let me get reset up here, and I will come up with the conclusion of the video and give you my final thoughts on this little monitor. So we took it out of the box, you ran down through the specs. I showed you controls on this. It is listed as a 75 Hertz refresh rate, which I never did really look at, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be 60 Hertz out of the box. You'll have to go into the settings and turn that overdrive on to be able to get the 75 Hertz out of it. But what's my final conclusion on this thing, and what's this thing actually cost? Looking over here on Newegg today, I looked it up on Amazon, and it's still going for about $140. But in the US today at the filming, which is November the 13th of 2022, you can get this monitor for $109.99. In this video, I can't go into the long-term use of this. I do not plan on using this as a daily driver. This is going to be just a little bit of a hookup monitor for when I'm testing systems, to show you guys when I build systems that they do actually post and whatnot. My dogs knocked the other one off the table and busted it, so I had to get another replacement. So I figured I'd do an unboxing overview on this. But as far as long term, I can't justify or say what it's going to be. But for the $110 price tag with the 75 Hertz, the IPS display, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a little bit younger person and the size really don't matter, you know, us old people, we need a little bit bigger screens just to be able to see, because our eyesight ain't as good as it used to be. I think it'd be alright. If you're just now getting into PC gaming, I think it'd be an alright little monitor to get used to. And you can actually push it a little bit better than that 60 Hertz that a lot of PC gamers are looking for, which is a pretty nice feature. It does seem to have quite a bit of control over the picture or the image that's coming out of the monitor by the settings inside of it. I think it's pretty good. The aluminum seems to be pretty rigid as far as the base and the neck of it goes. It does have that base mount. It's 100 millimeters by 100 millimeter size. So you can put it on your standard swing arm or desk arm or whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit disturbing that it's only got two HDMI ports. That is a 1.4 port. And it don't have no display ports to it. And it's got a VGA port to it. I don't know why. Of course, back in 2018, that was probably pretty standard. That is, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago now. Back then, that type of port setup on a monitor was pretty standard. But as long as you're using HDMI, I think you're going to be alright. If you're going to be building a more powerful system, you know, this is more of for the budget gamer, maybe a second monitor for somebody. I think it's pretty good price for the performance that it's got so far out of it. It's got a pretty good picture. I know when I show you the footage of the controls and the footage of having benchmark running across it there, because of the compression and the decompressing of the files when you record and edit videos and upload to YouTube, it probably ain't showing you what the picture actually looks like on this screen. But it does have a pretty good picture to it. I mean, it is IPS after all. It ain't a VN or a whatever kind of panel or TN panel. It is an IPS. The color reproduction on it is pretty good. I think for $110, I think this would be a pretty good budget gaming monitor. And yes, And yes, I know when a lot of people talk budget, they're looking at the $50 to $60 to $70 one cheapos on Amazon or something like that. But from my experience, them kind of monitors just don't hold up. They don't last very long. They are made to be disposable. They don't last long. So, in my opinion, this is more of a budget option. Acer's been around for a long time. This does have quite good reviews on Amazon and Newegg, if you believe their rating system as far as the reviews go. It does have pretty good reviews on it. So I think this would be a pretty good starter monitor for you, or a second monitor to use while you're live streaming, or if you want something to, I don't know, whatever, watch YouTube videos like this on the side while you're gaming, something like that. I think this would be a pretty good little monitor for you. There will be links in the description below if you'd like to pick one of these up, or you'd like to read up for a little bit more on them. There's some other links down that may interest you. Don't forget to do all that fun YouTube stuff on your way out of here. You all have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video or live stream.